A pause button has been pressed on one of the biggest economic battles of our time, the trade between the United States and China. Two of the world's largest economies has been given 90 more days of peace. President Donald Trump has signed an order that delays high tariffs on Chinese goods, just as before they were about to kick back in. Why this sudden move? What does it mean for global trade, for farmers, for industry, and even for every life today? Today, we break it down in the simplest way possible. No jargon, no politics, just facts you can understand. A tariff is basically a tax on goods coming into a country from abroad. When the US puts a tariff on Chinese goods, Chinese companies have to pay more to sell in America, often making their products more expensive. The idea is to make local products more attractive and to pressure the other country to make trade fairer. But here's the catch. When tariffs go up, the other country usually fights back with its own tariffs. This is what started the US-China trade war years ago. Just what happened? On Monday, President Trump signed an executive order, basically a direct order from him that extends the suspension of higher tariffs on Chinese goods for another 90 days. Without this, US tariffs would have shot back up to 145% on many Chinese imports from the current 30%. China, in response, would have likely raised its tariff on American goods from 10% back to 125%. That would have been bad news for businesses in both countries and for the global economy as well. Why now? The US and China recently held trade talks in Stockholm in late July. They agreed to keep the peace for now as bigger issues are still being discussed. Trump says he's dealing very nicely with China and wants them to buy more American soybeans. Both sides agreed to keep all other parts of their earlier agreement the same, just pushing the deadline forward to November 10, 2025. The bigger picture, trade was roller coaster. Over the past year, Trump has announced big tariffs on China, then paused them, then changed them, often with little warning. Earlier this year, tariffs reached record highs, 145% on Chinese goods and 125% on US goods, almost stopping trade completely. In May, both countries stepped back. US tariffs came down to 30%, China's to 10% to give talks a chance. This unpredictability has made life tough for business. They can't plan ahead when rules keep changing. Why experts think the US blinked first? Many experts say Trump's tough tariff strategy hasn't forced China to give in. One big reason, rare earth minerals. These are special materials used in cars, planes, electronics, and even renewable energy. China controls a huge chunk of the world's supply. If China stopped selling these to the US, many industries would suffer. So part of this truce includes the US reducing some restriction on Chinese exports like computer chip tech and chemicals in exchange for better access to rare earths. What business are saying? The US-China Business Council says the extension is critically for negotiations. Farmers, especially soybean growers, are watching closely. They hope China buys more of their crops. Energy companies also want better trade terms to sell products like ethane for petrochemicals. What's next? There's talk of a possible meeting between Trump and China's president later this year, but a big, full trade deal is still far away. Current talks may lead to smaller agreements, China buying more US farm products, more control on chemicals used in making phenol, ensuring supply of rare earth materials. The major disputes like intellectual property theft and government subsidies to Chinese companies could take years to resolve. So here's the bottom line. The US and China have hit the snooze button on their tariff for 90 more days. That means business can breathe a little easier for now. Farmers may have some hope for more sales and both governments have more time to talk instead of tax. But the big issues haven't gone away. This is a pause, not a peace treaty. The next 90 days will decide if this truce leads to a deal or if the trade wars come roaring back. For now, the world watches and waits.